Tell me some things you know about a line.
It's straight.
It's straight. What else do you know? Never has an end if it's a line. What else? What else does it have? I think you just named a form of a line, and we're going to get to that. What else does a line have? What's a characteristic of a line? Come on, y'all. I'm thinking of two specific things. It keeps going. What's always the first thing you find when you have a line? Starts with an S. I was going to say that's the first thing everybody thinks of whenever they think of a line. Tell me, what is slope? Rise over run. Which means what? Okay. How do you find it? How do you find rise over run? You do need a little math to do that. Which variable rises, X or Y? Y. So you take any 2 points, you find the difference in Y, and then you find the difference in X to find the slope. Some people refer to this, I like this form, as delta Y divided by delta X. Delta is just a Greek letter that means change. The change in Y divided by the change in X. Change. As the slope gets bigger, what happens to the line? Steeper, right? So let's say I have this line and then I have this line. Which one has a bigger slope? The second one, right? The one that I drew last, that has a steeper slope. It's got a bigger valued slope. You can also have a negative slope, right?
Yeah.
Yes. What kind of slope is this? Close. Why might that be undefined? If I put this on a graph, let's say this point was 2, 5, and this point was 2, 10. If you plug that into the slope formula, right? Change in Y is what? M is what we use for slope. It's 5. What's the change in X? Nothing. You can never, ever, ever divide by 0. That's why it's undefined. However, what about the yellow line? What's the slope? 0. 0. Because you can have 0 in the top of a fraction. 0 divided by 5 is 0. 5 divided by 0 is undefined. Okay? Everybody okay on that so far? We'll do a couple examples. Let's say, see, I told you today was easy. Let's say I told you that 2 points on a line were 5, 3, and -2, -7. What is the slope of that line? Let's find out. Remember, Y goes on top. It's change in Y divided by change in X. Does it matter which point you start with? No. It doesn't matter what point you start with on the top as long as you start with that same one on the bottom. All right, don't look up. You work it. Don't look up until you finished and then check it by mine. And I'm going to work it at the same time. Watch all those negatives, though. Is that what y'all got? Yay! Positive slope. Everybody okay on that? So we use this now to write an equation of the line. So I know y'all's favorite form of a line is probably slope-intercept, mx plus b. But if I have 2 points and a slope, there's an easier form to write the line in. Do y'all know what it is? Point slope, that's right. I was trying to write this at the same time and couldn't. Equations. Point slope. So what does point slope look like? Y minus y what? 1 equals. I don't think some of you have seen this, or else you're just being quiet. Have y'all seen that before? I hope at some point in your math career some math teacher has showed you point slope, because it's so much easier to work with. Okay, so slope-intercept form, which is that mx plus b, and we'll talk about it just a minute in a second. But it requires a lot of manipulation and solving when you have 2 points that you're writing an equation for. The easiest thing to do is point slope. So obviously we know the m is what? Slope. And x1, y1 is any point on my line. Just got to watch those signs because it's got to be minus, okay? So let's look at the one we just did. What were the 2 points on the one we just did? Where we found the slope? 5, 3, and -2, -7. And we found the slope to be, what was it, 10 over 7? So you can pick either one of those that you want, and it doesn't matter. It's going to come out to be the same thing. And let it be x1, y1. So an equation for that line that goes through those 2 points could be y minus 3 equals slope. That's exactly right. Try to find another equation of that line in point slope form. You do it. Watch your signs. Does that make sense to everybody? Yeah. Are those the same equations? They look different. If you multiply them out and simplify them, watch what happens. This is pretty neat, I think, anyway. If I distribute, ooh, we are not doing purple and orange right beside each other like that. I did not mean to do that a second ago either. Okay. Y minus 3 equals 10 over 7x minus 50 over 7, right? Top times top, bottom times bottom. And now I need to add 3. I'm going to use my calculator for this so I don't get into like denominators and everything else. All right, negative 50 over 7 plus 3. Negative 50 over 7 plus 3. How do I get it back into a fraction? Math, enter, enter. Negative 29 over 7. All right, hold on to your britches because this is going to be good. 29 over 7. You do the same thing with the orange equation. See what you get. Over 7 minus 7. I think it's going to be the same, y'all. Isn't that cool? Did you all get that? Okay, make sure you use your calculator, especially. Bless you. You allergic to math today? All right. So we can manipulate. You see why? I just wanted you to see both of them. I know that took a little while to do, but I wanted you to see that they are both still the same equation, and you can use either point to come back. Now, what is this form called in green? Yes, that's the one y'all are most familiar. Bless you. Slope. Why is it called slope-intercept? It gives you a slope and an intercept. In the green equation, what's the slope? They're both 10 over 7. That's my slope, right? What is that? Which intercept? Y-intercept. What is a y-intercept? Where it crosses the y-axis. Is everybody okay? I find that most students are okay on slope-intercept form. It's the point slope that you're not as familiar with. Everybody okay on that? Do I need to do any more of those, writing the equation like that? Yes? Okay, let's do one more. I'm going to give you 2 points. I want you to write the equation of the line in point slope form. Then I want you to change it to slope-intercept form. Let's do... Give me 2 numbers, Chandler. 10 and 20. Hampton, give me 2 more.
1 and 2.
Oh my goodness.
That's a good one.
Right. I won't ask you again. Write the equation of the line first in point slope and then in slope intercept. If you're still working through that one, keep working. I'm going to start working it up here. Make sure your slope's right before you get any further. I'm going to do change in y divided by change in x. I got a slope of 2. Did everyone at least get a slope of 2 for that one? Point slope form, y minus 20 equals slope x minus 10. Just make sure you're pulling your x and your y from the same point. Don't pull the y from here and then the x from here, because you'll be messed up. Then you won't have the same equation. So to get it in slope-intercept form, I need to distribute, solve it for y. Oh, this was an easy one.
Yeah.
Y equals 2x. What's the intercept? What's the y-intercept of that line? 0. Y-intercept, which is my b in the equation, is 0, which means it crosses the y-axis at 0. Then it rises 2 and runs 1. Let me see if you really understand point slope. I'm going to give you an equation. What's the slope? Negative 2/3. Okay. What's the slope? Negative 2/3. What's a point on the line? Close. Close. Remember the way it goes. Remember the equation. So it's y minus 1, or y minus y1 equals slope times x minus x1. So what's the point on the line? What is it? Close. 5, negative 1. The signs have got to be changed. Okay? Because remember, if you were plugging this in here, it's y minus y1. So y minus negative 1. Negative 2/3 x minus x1. That's why it's plus. So remember opposite signs on those. All right. How about... I'm not going to go over standard form right now, because you'll graph in standard form, but you're not really going to write an equation in standard form. Let's talk about parallel and perpendicular real quick, and I'll be almost done. Parallel and perpendicular. What does that mean? Whoa. Okay. They either cross or they don't. These don't. These do, but they cross something special. They cross at 90 degrees. Right? So parallel never cross, perpendicular cross at 90 degrees. They also, there's something else special about them. You should have learned this, Algebra 1 maybe?
I don't know.
What's special about their slopes? Does anybody remember? Parallel lines have the same slope. Their slope is always the same. Perpendicular lines is where it gets, is what? No, to do with slope. It's the negative, and I don't like to use negative, and I'll tell you why in a minute. Negative reciprocal slope. The reason I don't like to use negative is if it's already negative, then it becomes positive. It's really just opposite signs. So I always tell my students to flip the fraction and switch the sign. Flip and switch. Flip and switch. I do too.
The negative.
Yeah. So, for example, let's say you have the line you have this line, y equals 2/3 x plus 5. And I tell you that I want you to write the equation of the line that is parallel, these signs mean parallel. It's parallel to this line, and it goes through the point. Jerome, give me a point.
3.7.
You're cut off from naming points. You name them too easy. -7, 2. I'm glad he put a negative in there because we're going to have to adjust the sign. All right. Tell me what I know based on what you've been given. That's right. The slope. The slope of my new line is going to be 2/3. Right? So now look what I have. I need to write the equation of a line. I have a point and a slope. What form should I use to write the equation? Point, slope. I have a point. I have a slope. So give me the equation. Y minus 2 there you go. Easy? What if I make it perpendicular? I want it perpendicular to that line and through. Okay, Hampton, try again. What's your point?
3, 4.
Oh. Through 3, 4. Tell me what you know. What's my new slope going to be? Close. Flip and switch. Slope. It's 1/2. Remember, this is -2/1. If I flip it, I get 1/2. And if I change the sign, it was negative, so I'll make it positive. I have a point. I have a slope. Give me the equation. Y very last example is going to be a little bit of a challenge. You have the equation. This looks a little different. This is now in standard form. I want you to write an equation that is Should it be parallel or perpendicular? Perpendicular? Perpendicular to that and through, give me another point.
3, 5.
3, 5. I'm going to do 3, -5. Here, what's the problem? Where am I stuck here? I don't know where the slope is right now. Why don't I know where the slope is right now? It's in standard form. How can I get it in a form where I can see the slope easily? So what do I move? Move the 4x, subtract it. Get y by itself. When in doubt, get y by itself. I'm going to put the -4x first so that I can see the slope. So now what's my new slope? Here it's -4. What's going to be the slope of my line perpendicular?
4.
And flip it. Flip and switch.
1/4.
1/4. Write the equation. Y plus 5. That's right.